This was a question. Thanks for imparting your knowledge and for answering our questions. You're welcome, dear. Much, million times over. Pleasure is all mine. You're such a sweetheart. Well, thank you. I love that. And you got to Mickey. How can we raise our state of consciousness to the highest possible level? And what do you think our state of consciousness was like when we were a forest-dwelling species? Hugs and kisses. Thank you. And that's the AOI. Spirituality versus academics. In our classes, the first part of the day, the first day, is the discussion on how God put creation together. We've talked about it here on the YouTube. And I talk about it extensively at the class because we have to understand how we're put together. And the problem is we have God or the Creator or whatever, however you want to look at that essence, which all life springs from. However you look at that. It doesn't matter. Names are unimportant because name is just trying to define something that's infinite. And you can't define the infinite. This is what makes it, it's what it's a tease for the mind. So we talked about that God is like a mirror that is all of the all. And if you look at all scriptures and all religions, doesn't matter what level it is, you will find that the Creator is defined more as the allness of the all, the omnipresence of everything, that alone exists. You'll see numerous amount of definitions, the I am, that sort of thing. A little cliche comes to my mind is, I think, therefore I am. You ever heard that one? I think, therefore I am. Well, it's better said, I am, therefore I think. See the difference? And the difference is that you are not your mind. It's that simple. The mind is the tool of creation. And so it's very important. There's that God World chart that I showed you. Paul Twitchell wrote an extensive one. The most thorough one that I've ever seen. I'm trying to find it around here. I started putting together my own God World chart from my own experiences and what I've learned from Twitchell and others. But it's an incredible journey of how all the levels, dimensions, I don't care what name you give them. Jesus referred to them as rooms in my Father's mansion. But in Buddha and Eastern religions, we call these states of consciousness, levels of consciousness. You can call them dimensions. You can call them realms. I've heard all kinds of names associated with these different levels that God has created so it can experience untold amount of experiences. It's forever creating in creation. It cannot create outside of creation because that which is all cannot create more. The all is the all. There is no way to create more or have something existing outside of the all. The allness is the allness. There's no room. It just encompasses everything, every dimension. It's hard to put creation rules on the infinite because creation is finite. There's a point A and a point B. Consciousness is more like a circle. It is always there. And there's nowhere you can go without it. We talked about this before, where there's nowhere you can hide from yourself. You lock yourself in a closet, guess what? You're still sitting there with yourself. Same thing. When you quiet the mind, you're still there. That's the problem. Or that's the good thing. So that's what we have to look at, is the difference between creation and you. And the best way, and I've used this analogy before, is when you go to a very well-directed movie. And the directors that direct a movie so well that you lose yourself for that movie is considered the best directors. Because they can literally take your awareness and pull it into drama and lose the fact that you are there watching the drama and you become part of the drama. Soul takes on experiences in creation by becoming them. That's the secret that you have to learn, is that you take on experience by taking it on. You can have a title, doctor, but until you take it on and live it and express it, you just have a title. And it doesn't matter if it's an electrician title. It doesn't matter if it's a telephone installer or a plumber. Titles. The consciousness of it is the process of thought, activity, and emotions, all drummed into the experience. I'm a plumber. Look, I'm doing plumbing. I'm taking the plumbing out, sticking it together. I'm called a plumber, and I know how to do it. But you're not a plumber. Your body is, and you're playing the world of being a plumber, but you're far from being just a plumber or just an electrician or just a doctor or just whatever you are. This is the greatness of you all. And when we recognize that in everyone will start hugging each other. They'll throw down the rocks, the guns, they'll land the planes, and everybody will start hugging and say, you know what? I love you because we're all part of the same Creator. And that we're fighting because of our unawareness, because we are lost and our spiritual religious leaders didn't free us. And that's the difference between spirituality and religion, is the job of a minister or a saint or a savior is to awaken you to the God within and not be the God for you. No true master or spiritual being will ever be between you and yourself and whatever you want to call yourself. God, whatever you want to call that. A true spiritual being will always bring you into God consciousness and allow you to have that. But this idea of academics, we praise the mind so much here, and the reason is the mind is actually controlling everything. And there's beings that control these higher aspects of the mind. You have all levels of beings in these worlds, and you wouldn't think that God cannot express itself except through something, a channel for itself. The infinite cannot express itself in finite terms except through protection, bodies, frequency step downs, if you will, in magnetics. You can't hold your finger in a 440 electrical socket. Couldn't do it. So that's why you can't have out-of-body experiences and get to the highest high necessarily while still retaining a human body. It will burn all the way through the cord into the bodies. Too powerful. So we have got to step down the magnetics so you can experience differences. So I can say, look, I'm not the only thing that exists. How boring. I want something to do. Oh, that's a pretty woman, or that's a beautiful man, or that's a beautiful animal. And there's untold amounts of experiences and activities. Academics is nothing but the illusion of knowledge, and that knowledge breeds truth. There's nothing truth in knowledge. Knowledge is a forever ongoing seeking of what already exists. And the proof that academics fail is allopathy. We can, in our simple healing of spirituality and of the raw foods and of the herbs, we can dance around medical doctors by the thousands because there's no curative, there's no remedy within allopathy. Why would you suck the main economics out of man for a system that doesn't work? For a system that has theories that are bull hockey. It is just ridiculous. Man is lost, he's memorized, he's hypnotized. Governments have been planning this for years. And hypnotize yourself. Free yourself from the mind and academics. You don't have to have 5-year, 10-year medical degree. Look what it's got them. They're lost even more. And the more they go to school, the more lost they get. I say that there's exceptions to this always, so don't get on my case for that. I'm glad my dentist knows how to put implants in. I'm glad he went to school for that. There's those type of academics are important, no question. At the same time, We wouldn't need them if we were back getting our health together. If I had just known to go deeper, maybe I had some herbs. Maybe life went different. Maybe this, maybe that. But in reality, you can't maybe nothing. You have to live in the present moment and know that this is why I can talk to you about balance. This is why I know you guys can do better. This is why I know where a lot of the pitfalls are. How many times have I been here? How many times have I fell in holes? I'm learning where they are now. So that's what we have to do, is learn where these are. And the mind is the biggest pitfall you have. Learn to control your mind and let it do its thing on its own, and you separate. The highest part of the mind is the ego, and the lowest part of the mind is your causal body. These are three realms that make up the mental worlds. And the causal body is where you first take form, where I can see you in form. And that starts the blueprint. That's why when we start bringing your energy and your consciousness up, we can regenerate tissue, especially beyond genetic memories, because we are now beyond the genetic memory of the cell into the causal world, where the blueprints are. And you can journey to these worlds. The causal world, the Akashic records are kept there. These are records of all your journeys. You can see them. Many people have. Many people have brought them. I've seen mine. It's well established. Don't be afraid if you're in religions of these things. These are the way God put the worlds together. Be strong because you are here because of God. You should be strong in your knowingness of that. The only way you're going to get that strength, and is right what this lady asked about, how do I grow spiritually? Quiet your mind. Quit associating your mind with yourself. Be yourself and use your mind. You can use your bodies to enjoy the worlds. Be like Michael in the movie Michael, where he enjoyed all that. Enjoyed life, fighting the bull, going to court and doing something funny with the judge. Just shows how you can be a spiritual being and understand that creation is just for the fun of it. Don't take it too serious. Even though there's pain and there's depression and discomfort. That's because we're unaware. That is the mind. That's the mind that's trapped man into this. Don't blame anything but academics in the mind. It is allopathy that has set this whole consciousness of suppression and antibiotics, not understanding the role of bacterium or the role of virals in nature. Oh no, we're scientists. We must play in labs and create interesting strains of HIV and Ebola. Oh, did I say create? I'm sorry. Whatever. You know, this is we've become insane, and it's all through the mind and academics. Well, you can say that's important. That's why we have this telephone and can communicate, and I concur with that. But you have to know when to use them, and you have to know when not to use them. So there's a point where get your academics, but then free yourself from them. Put together, because you can't see the whole picture from the mind. The mind hasn't that ability. The mind looks in fractions and looks in comparisons and analyses. That's why you have double-blind study crap and why you have all its analysis and comparisons and studies. What do you need to study, really? Just take a look. Just observe nature and the human species. You'll get better awareness by doing that, but it's too simple. And, of course, creation wouldn't go on like it is. So it is important to God that there is unconsciousness. So don't be too hard on people that are unaware, because I'm unaware at a certain point, you're unaware at a certain point. Absolutely. So I'm real humbled at the fact that I even have had the experiences that I've had. Thank you very much. But at the same time, I know and beginning to know more of who I am, who you are. And that makes for a power of us. And not a power that we have power over others, but a power to be more, to know more, to see more, and to give love more. So you all have fun with this, but don't get tracked at academics. You don't have to have years of study to help heal people. I'm teaching you all the simplicity of health, and that's our focus. Throw the word of diseases in the trash can, you'll be better off, and start understanding how the body works simplistically. How does your house work at home? Has a kitchen in it, has a bathroom in it. We have to have those two rooms, right? Because people eat in that house, and people have to eliminate waste. Cells do the same thing. Not a brainstorm. Everything does. Plants do. We have to feed plants, and they eliminate waste. So real important that you understand spirituality over academics. Put the mind where it is. It is the creator of creation. Play in creation, but if you get lost, you'll become unconscious. And the more unconscious you become, the more fear-based, the more depressed, the more your body goes down toward acidosis. So, and the more you're controlled by others, either emotionally, mentally, or physically. Get your power back. Get your joy back. Get your love back. And get your God back. Okay? Good morning, everyone. It is sure good to be with you all. It's been a crazy month here. We've had the school, and we've had a lot of things going on. I took a week off to kind of catch up on personal things, and so I kind of left you guys out here, though, and I apologize so much, but needed to take a little R&R there. And we've got so many good questions here, and we really need to go over them. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to go over your eyes again. I don't want to do too many more of them because by now you should be really getting that. And we'll do one or two more of those and really listen up and follow that. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and review the other ones. Try to make it real simple. And if you keep things simplistic, believe it or not, it'll offer you a lot better tool to use, and you'll keep your joy and everybody will be happy. And so I kind of wanted to finish up on our spirituality versus academics here and do a part 2 on that, because I was just trying to get some of that out before. And we've had a couple of responses here that I'd like to respond to. One, obviously these are immature people, but one person in particular, this one is in particular in mindset. We're talking about the bipedal female. I couldn't remember what they called it, and I couldn't pronounce that word. Let me see. We've got, 20 letters in this or something at Nat Geo. The thing is, this guy doesn't seem very educated for a doctor. He sounded like a 5th grader doing a book report when talking about seeing story about this upright walking female, bipedal female. Mick, I appreciate your, rudeness there. Matter of fact, people are rude like this. You don't have to be on this site, You can just hop your little way away. It just shows a narcissistic viewpoint of this, and it ties right in here to spirituality versus academics and why this is. There's a lot of us, doctorate or not, that can't spell worth a crap or pronunciate worth a crap. It's just the schools we went to. The natural health schools are a little different than, say, med school, where you're taking all these other classes unrelated, so you can pronounce words this long. Unfortunately, people that pronounce this words long generally can't cure anything. And that's the problem that we have is academics. And academics have bred a narcissistic viewpoint that these people are showing. And this gentleman just exudes that viewpoint, or female, whoever it was, lost in their own academic greatness, and that sort of thing is why we have this problem on this planet. When you look at the God worlds and the closer to the God conscious state you become, the less of this kind of opinionated narcissistic view you see, and the more the oneness that you see. And this is why it's so important that you develop the spirituality. The academics is simply what planet you're on, what language they're speaking, how they deal with communication skills, things like this. It isn't who you are. It has no clue. So this person lacks a great deal of spirituality, and this is unfortunate because this person really needs to get their spiritual side in order. These sort of things doesn't matter. How you pronounce a word this long. Matter of fact, I've always thought that's part of our problem, is that the common person, and I would rather associate myself with the common person than with the intellectual. I find that a very narcissistic, very stuffy, very suit and tie. If you look around the world, only those countries that have have a lot of things to hide, wear suit and ties and are constipated and things like this. You know, they don't know how to live life and be joyful, even at these higher levels of academics and things like this, because there's nothing wrong with academics in the focus that you're having. And this is important for all you YouTubers and all you healers out there that let people like this antagonize you because they're so intellectual. They're so intellectual, they become stupid. And that's what you have to realize, is that when you look at the academics of the medical school, those poor guys are taking so many things that they never use. And therefore, they have no clue. It doesn't surround them and give them images of what they're after, because there's no curative value, number one. Number two, it doesn't really fit into science like it should, not in nature science. And there's only one science out there. I hope you all know that, and that is nature or God science. It isn't Monsanto. It isn't pharmaceutical companies. These people hurt people. These people kill people and are allowed to do it. And so when you come back and say stupid things like this, so this is one I wanted to comment just for you guys, because I don't care, you can call me whatever you want. I don't really care. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all. What it does, though, is hurt a lot of other people who feel like they're inadequate at helping others, and that's just not true. These kind of people hopefully will, I don't know, this level's pretty, deals with a lot of these kind of things. So here's another one I wanted to read you too, because this is tied in with someone who called on the phone here. And it says, I wish people like this would not call themselves doctors. Now, this is another narcissistic individual and probably an intellectual. I remember when the medical doctors got so narcissistic that they wanted all people with doctor's degrees to not call themselves doctors, only medical doctors. And I find that funny, because these people can't cure anything. I really don't care what people call me. Matter of fact, who is this? This is Philip UK 64. Listen, Philip, for your information, you can call me Robert. Matter of fact, all my YouTube friends and healers can call me Robert all they want. I'm not offended. Guess what? So you don't offend me by saying that. This just shows, again, your viewpoint and your lack of understanding. And maybe you're thinking that if you're a medical doctor, you might be somebody. I think the opposite's true, and I think you're all going to see this come crashing down, this gigantic killing machine going to come crashing down on itself. And then I want to talk to people like this, And so they didn't want NASA. NASA's engineers who worked all their lives and became doctors, these incredible people that can figure out these things, how to enter the atmosphere just at all these things like this. They didn't want to use their doctorates. Excuse me? The doctorate is someone that's good at what they do. They're an expert in their field. So let me see. You're a medical doctor, but you can't cure anything. How are you an expert in your field? You could say that if you're a good surgeon and you're a good ER doc, but these are some of the problems that we're facing here, and it's facing the problem isn't with me, because I don't really care. I'm done. I don't really care. This is about humanity and about where does man need to go to elevate himself out of these lower levels of thinking like this, because this is exactly why the world is in trouble, is these kind of people. And these kind of people need to take time, go out to the Himalayas, or maybe go back in a room by themselves and focus on more of who are they, and get away from their intellect, because they come to love themselves too much. If he has a lot of experience, then great, but the DC and ND are meaningless. They're all meaningless. Oh, and I want to bring this other thing up. I think this is real cool. He says they are from a school in England. If no longer exists, as far as I can tell. There's a lot of schools that no longer exist as far as I can tell. A lot of them went out of business. A lot of good herbal schools too. Now, you didn't say herbalist on there. Did you want to defame me even more with the herbal thing, man? You forgot that one. What's meaningless is just what you're saying here. You're trying to if a school's out of business, that means you didn't go to it, you didn't get your academics out. I wanted to bring this up too, because someone said something about selling degrees and buying degrees. I have no understanding, because I was young, what my school or any school does. I will tell you this, for all you guys out there, you all buy your degrees. I don't care what you think. You all buy your degrees. And there's not too many universities that are in business except to make money. Harvard grad, oh, that's great. Not much more aware than your Miami grad. No offense to Harvard, but all you medical doctors aren't well trained in how the body works really and how to heal. You're working on antiquated theories. You're still playing the game of vaccines and antibiotics, still killing people, still doing these things. So what is meaningless to me is those sort of degrees that people buy. There's some people pay a lot of money for their degrees and still can't cure anything. I remember an osteopathic endocrinologist that had to tell me when I was speaking for the American Diabetes Foundation that he had 15 years of school behind him. And I asked him, I said, you've had 15 years of school and you're an osteopath? And I said, what causes diabetes in the first place? He says it's an autoimmune problem. Right then I knew he didn't know crap about anything. And then I said, have you ever cured diabetes? Oh, it's an incurable autoimmune problem. I said, are you serious? And so this shows this sort of thing. And this guy is slamming me for a school that was and was not. I loved the school I went to because it had all the subject matters of nature. It had the chemistry, it had massage, it had everything. And you had a full-rounded study of it. And like I said before, Bruce wanted 5 theses, and I thought that was pretty good. It doesn't matter who starts the school. The academics are somewhat the same if you look around, but there are differences in academics and schools. But let me tell you, you all buy your degrees. And somebody, and how about the degrees that are given away by these colleges, too? We give an honorary, I've got some honorary naturopathic degrees I didn't put out there because they're honorary, and it was honoring my life's work. We did that to presidents, we've done it to all these people. What are you going to say about schools like that, bro? I mean, this is the sort of problem that we have is narcissistic people like this, and it hurts everyone because this isn't about me. This is about the healers out there that might feel like they're intimidated because of butts like this. And the problem is, don't be intimidated. I can teach a 10th grader how to cure anything. So this is how important this is and how important it is for you all. Please don't take this kind of crap in on yourself. These people are sick. They need help. They're constipated. They're not happy. They're too busy worrying about other people and not what's truth and what they could use to help them or anything like that. They're in the mind. And this is what's so important to understand the difference between academics or the mind and spirituality, which is who you are. And it makes a big difference. If you said who you are is this gigantic soul, and you have some butt like this judging your awareness in that on your academics, I love that one. I love that one. I don't think that is going to be loved by the Creator either. Well, if it no longer is, it was supposedly selling uncredited qualifications and shut down by the UK government. I never heard that. I never knew. I've seen, I don't know, can't test to that. I can test to many established schools have done that. So I don't know. I have no clue, and that doesn't affect my academics there whatsoever. Whatever. I never knew the guy personally, so I don't know. But if you're going to blame this school, you got a lot of schools sitting on top of that one, bud. A lot of them, and a lot of famous ones. So don't, this is ridiculous. However, I don't rate MDs either. Well, good. Experience is great, but everyone can heal themselves. I think you need to get out there and get into life. His herb formulas are overpriced and dubiously useful. This is the kind of insult, Philip, that why waste your time with this? You're showing your lack of spirituality and your lack of awareness here. Everybody knows my formulas are priced well. Everybody knows that they're great. But and it doesn't matter. But you have to be careful about slandering and things like this, young man or older man. I don't know. It's a male, obviously. It's the raw food that likely heals the most. These are the type of things, people, I want you to realize you get involved with. There's a lot of people like this. They're lost. They don't know how to get well. But, Philip, you go on raw foods. You call me Robert, and we're good, okay? But I would take time and start getting beyond judgments and things like this because it doesn't serve you well. I can dance around anybody in the health field any day of the week. I enjoy people that have spent most of their life's work. You can't go to school. If you want to say what I'm doing now is from my school, then you're very wrong. I could teach someone that never went to school how to do these levels. And I've seen people that never went to school outdo all medical doctors that spent all their lives in schools. I've seen that a lot around. So this kind of judgment call fits right into what I was talking about with this segment of spirituality versus academics. And this is the problem. If you get lost in the mind, you're lost. And you're playing games, you're judging others, and therefore you're pitting man against man. And that's the negative forces. And that's just what these people are. They're acting channels for the negative forces. Don't let those negative forces get into your world. Put a mirror up and let those energies bounce back to that person. And it'll bounce right back. This person will find out what that karma is all about coming, because we're not going to take that on. We're going to let that bounce back because it doesn't matter. You know, proof's in the pudding. That's an old country saying. Of course, it's not an academic saying, though, so I hope it doesn't offend the academics, but proof's in the pudding. In other words, get yourselves well, and there's one pathway to do it. Raw foods is very much a part of that, but you're going to find, for you practitioners, the essential need of these herbs. Incredible. Oh, they are vegetables too, right? Yeah, I guess we could call them vegetables and raw foods because we don't cook them, do we? Exactly. So this is the sort of thing you see a lot out there, these kind of attitudes and things. So I want you to know that keep yourself spiritual. Always seek, if you have to seek anything, to being all you are. And the problem with that is the mind keeps you from that. It's like the mind is keeping this guy from enjoying the beauty of what we're teaching here, because he's so trapped in thoughts and ideas that he can't enjoy the beauty and the love of this site. And we have a good, loving, healing site. And this is like a negative pin that comes in, and we have to toss it out because we don't allow that or embrace it come in, and you must grow because we don't allow negativity to fester on this channel. It is not a healthy thing to do, or you start to lose your health. And matter of fact, I was at Busch Gardens yesterday, and I was in the primate exhibit and looking at the gorilla exhibit because I keep forgetting the percentages, but 40% of the day, gorillas are resting. 40%. 30% eating and 30% playing. 40% at rest. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I loved about my school in Sussex, England, is that he had great, it's all naturopathy. And naturopathy is pure, clean, and beautiful. And it was just incredible when you keep it simple, just what you can see. Although there was quite the academics at the school. But this is true with any school. Many schools have started up and couldn't sell themselves enough, and so they went out. The Harvards and things like this, they're there, but thank God I'm not a Harvard grad, because I would have probably been too lost had I come out of there thinking I was the greatest thing since moonshine, you know. So that's the sort of crap that's out there. I appreciate people that are uneducated in that way, because what happens is their narcissism grows completely out of control and they become ineffective in a social consciousness. They're more feeding into a negative feed of social consciousness. You know, every social consciousness must allow its freedom of its individuals involved. And that's the lacking and the lack of understanding. So keeping that awareness, meaning living in the now, learning how to use the mind when you need it and not when you don't. And don't get trapped that you need to know the name of these diseases that are 2 miles long, or the name of this upright bipedal female, which I can't pronounce those kind of words, never had that kind of education. And if you find that offensive, then sorry, go to a medical doctor's site and enjoy that. But our site is about love and healing and wellness, which this planet needs so much of, and we're the ones going to give it. A little shot right up the whoopee-boo. So real important you guys have fun today. I'm going to cut this off. I just want you to remember that the mind is your enemy here. You use it, and it becomes your friend. If you let it control you, it is your enemy, and it is the loss of your joy and your happiness. Also, your emotions. Your emotions is another body that's totally separate than the mind, not involved in academics, but involved in fun and pleasure, but also pain and suffering. So the emotions is the driving force, or your desire side, that pushes the mind into creating or pushing your thought patterns into existence. So you have to learn that. This is why even Buddha and Jesus and all the famous people had mentioned the desireless state, or the detached state of to find God. You can't desire the finite and at the same time to expect the infinite. Because when you're using the finite bodies, that's where your attention mostly is, until you learn how to keep your attention in the now and send that mind of yours on journeys to get that information for you. Because remember, your mind is tapped into the universal mind. And so when you understand that, you can use that for a lot of reasons. But don't get into the power of the mind. That's power over others. You start getting into, again, the ego accents, and you start getting into all these problems, and then psychic and channeling and things like this. And that's not true spirituality. That's, again, playing in the field, just higher levels of play. And they go up really high on these higher levels of play. But in reality, always seek to be who you are. Be solid as a rock in your awareness of the now. And don't let anybody come in and academically holler at you for things that it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with health and wellness if you can pronounce a word that long. And this is important for you. You don't have to be a medical doctor to heal people. Matter of fact, keep remembering, medical doctors don't cure people. That's not their job. In due respect to medical doctors, not their job. But the problem is that you shouldn't be hurting people either. So you got that other side there, that's the bad side that has to be fixed. So real important that we need a whole change, and there's no question about it, or a change will be forced upon man here. And, that's never good when God forces its hand. I've seen that in my life where my butts got kicked and I got, oh. So I try to listen as much as I can, So I'm going to come back and do the question and answer segment here and get to some of your questions and answers, because I know it's been a while. I've been kind of out, like I said, doing so much stuff, putting together stuff. But really have missed you guys. For those that came to the class, boy, we had fun, didn't we? I like that place that we had it in. A lot of beauty there with the boat docks and the water, and it's just beautiful there. So we're going to do a level 2 in April, I suppose. And I want protocols. I want you guys to be able to walk out of that and feel very confident you can tear them apart. You can cure anything out there using the cure word, meaning that you can get people healthy and restore tissue function. Just remember, some of you were suffering and you were very involved. And I brought that up on some of the last videos. Don't get discouraged and things don't work. It's us that have the problems. The process is nature's process, and it always works. But it's us that takes our bodies either too far or real close. And this has been my point all along here, is that now we're waking up, and we're seeing it on YouTube too. So I want all you people on Facebook and this to take a look at this too, because we are dealing, and you're going to see more and more advanced people come to us. You're seeing it. I've seen it for the last 20 years at least. But now you're seeing them come to us in groves, because medical doctors don't cure. They butcher them so bad, and then they let them go, and then they come to us. And it's tearful story after tearful story after tearful story. You think X Factor makes you cry? Take a look at this. I mean, there's just so much that it's astronomical. Somebody sent me the picture of the little boy with the tumor coming out the eye. Just sad stuff. And we have to understand why this is taking place and what we can do to prevent this. And you guys have the most answers of them all, in my opinion. And my opinion to this fella might not be nothing to Keith. And that's okay. Let Keith need to go on and find his own journey until he awakens a little more and understands life just a little bit more. But just don't let these people bother you with academics. Academics can be your nightmare. It's always good to be able to add and subtract. It's always good to be able to pronunciate. We'd all love that. But sometimes you sacrifice some consciousness for trying to cram too much in that brain, and that never leads to anything good. Confusion, things like this. So I want you to feel solid that you have a knowledge and awareness. For some of you have read books after books after books. And what I've done is just take all this knowledge, my experiences as a fruitarian and faster, and just put it all together and then said, well, we need to pull our friends, the herbs, into the picture. That's all I've done. And then I've understood that, wow, we have some elimination to do here, and it's called cell waste. And how do we get that? How does the body deal with that? Well, when allopaths believe that your body absorbs that back into the venous system, you have to draw the line there, because that's idiocy. You have to understand that when you're dealing in the two sides of chemistry, your body appropriately is set up to deal with both sides. And understanding how that is gives you a better look. It's like looking into nature for your answers. This person here, Keith, whatever, he probably thinks life's in a test tube or under a microscope. The problem is we're only viewing what is. What is we're standing on it, sitting on it, playing on it, and breathing on it. That is physical reality. But from a spiritual viewpoint, from who you are viewpoint, it is the dream. Unimportant, like Harvard, all these schools, unimportant, part of the dream. You know, everybody sells degrees. Welcome to the marketplace. The marketplace is education. These people have this idea that all these people want us to be educated and everybody's warm and fuzzy. Look at the education. We take out what we don't want you to know. We take out words that we think might be sensitive to your understanding. We change a little bit about history. We don't like the way history focused itself, like, why did Abraham Lincoln, why was he shot? You really don't know. The average person has no clue about Kennedy and why he was shot. People have no clue because we don't mention who's controlling everything. We don't mention what Roosevelt did with the bankruptcy of the American government and taking the gold standard. We trust our people we elect. So this has been our problem. So we're waking up to spirituality, meaning we're waking up to who we are, whether we're a Christian, a Buddhist, a Muslim, it doesn't matter. We all need to wake up and start loving each other. Everybody throw down their guns. But you've got to take care of people like this, people that just doesn't seem to want to make everybody harmonious. Excuse me. I still had some dental work. We all need to be harmonious together. Judging each other, separating each other is not how you do it. And if we judge each other on their academics, we have stooped to a very low level of awareness, like Keith. And you just can't. He's got to drop that so he can grow. It doesn't matter. When I go to any expert, I want to know what they know. I could give a care less what school they went to, because school doesn't teach you reality. Are you kidding? School doesn't teach you. Life is where you learn. And so I want someone that's had a lot of years. I want someone that's been through it. I want someone that's taken a lot of people through this journey. I want someone that knows. I could care less about their academic ability. That's where we need to be, because those people on YouTube that are the healers, you need to help people and go out and not feel intimidated at all. You guys are great souls, and I want you to realize that. You are set there to be very powerful. You're waking up to this now. A lot of you are waking up to your divinity, your journey, because it's coming down. Look at this, moving to 11. We're coming down to all of this. So it's important that you all wake up and understand that. Drop academics. If you can communicate at your level, everybody has adequate academics. I'm talking about accentuated academics. A good example is the School for Medical Doctors. I feel sorry for them. A lot of misinformation, a lot of theories are out there, and they can't shake loose from that a lot of times. So academics sometimes is your hell. So just know the difference between the mind and you as soul, and know which one to use and which one to be. All right, I love you all, and sorry for the little pop, but I don't want you all to feel intimidated at all. You are all doing incredible jobs at helping people. I don't want you to ever feel intimidated because you're not an intellectual. Matter of fact, they make the worst healers on the planet. Those that make the best healers are actually your emotional people, because they understand love. They understand connection. They have compassion. And that's what it takes to be a good healer, is love and compassion for people, not your academics. Academics stalemates you, put you in a box in a room with everybody else, and everybody else that can't heal. So you guys are super good. Keep that. Don't lose it. Keep going down that road. I love you all. I'll be back in a minute on question and answers. Thank you so much. Blessed be.